Hey guys, a little bit different video for you today. You know, Power Rangers has been advancing in the quality of the show it's been for a while now, and we're finally at the stage where they're really putting a lot of thought, a lot of details into these episodes. So I thought it would be fun to go through and actually break down the episode and talk about all the things maybe you missed, maybe some theories that we need to discuss. Hey guys, my name is Casey. I'm a huge fan of Power Rangers and I love discussing with you guys about fan theories and everything. So please, if you enjoy this type of stuff, please subscribe so we can get connected and keep talking and discussing. The pilot episode is entitled Destination Dinohenge. This was directed by Charlie Haskell. Charlie is a longtime fantasy director in New Zealand. He directed episodes of the mega hits Xena Warrior Princess and Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. Those shows actually inspired Saban's Mystic Knights of Tir na Nog. And while Mystic Knights was airing, it was competing with Young Hercules, which was another show Charlie heavily directed on. When Power Rangers switched to filming in New Zealand, he was one of the first people to be called. He directed 12 episodes in 2003 for Ninja Storm. He definitely was someone the staff at Disney trusted because Dino Thunder was a series he played a huge part in. Trusted to direct the first 3 episodes as well as the 3-part White Thunder series, which is what he is probably most well known for in Power Rangers. He directed only 3 episodes of SPD. He was directing a TV movie that year as well, so I wonder if that's why he didn't do a lot on that season, because he returned to do 10 episodes the next season on Mystic Force. He only did a handful of episodes for Operation Overdrive and Jungle Fury, but came back for 7 episodes of RPM. Most notable was Dr. K and Run Ziggy Run. They brought him back for 9 episodes of Super Mega Force. Charlie is the one who directed the Legendary Battle. Now, whatever your opinion is about that episode, it shows that the producers wanted someone they could trust to do an anniversary episode like that. Once again, brought in for a strong 8 episodes for Dino Charge and 4 for Ninja Steel. After Ninja Steel, he did a number of other works, including a TV movie in 2020 named Toku, or Tokei, that reunites him with Lucy Lawless, who he directed in Xena Warrior Princess. The last time he directed her was 2001. Now, he wasn't a part of Beast Morphers, but so far he has returned for 5 episodes of Dino Fury. With his track record, I wouldn't be surprised if he returns for a few more. So needless to say, I expected this episode to be good. Charlie is a professional and they definitely trust him as a director. Hasbro wanted to get this series started out on the right foot. I'm pretty happy with it so far, but on to the episode. The show opens up with Amelia going to work at Buzzblast, clearly a nod to this universe's version of the pop culture focused website BuzzFeed. Buzzblast is located in Pine Ridge. This is actually the second time in Power Rangers universe that Pine Ridge has been mentioned. This was the resting place of the Beast X King Zord from Beast Morphers, which shows we are already in the same dimension as the other Hasbro Ranger season. The first half of the season we haven't had a team up with Beast Morphers, but hopefully we will get one in the second half. Now, Zayto's broadcast signal shows this town to be located in Central California, and it just so happens there used to be a Pine Ridge, California, which is located in the middle of the state. The town was established in 1890, named Kenyon. In 1892, they changed the name to Pine Ridge, spelled as 2 separate words like the show does. But in 1895, it was changed to all one word. This town met its end in 1944 when they closed the town. I didn't even know that was possible to just close a town. You can type Pine Ridge, California into Google and the address now registers as Shaver Lake. All you can find of the former Pine Ridge, California would be a little shop called Cressman's General Store. Amelia rides up, and before seeing her face, we see stickers on her moped of the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, and ghosts. Some of the ghosts have a net around them, foreshadowing her attempt to catch a ghost with her spook snare. Also a sticker that says aliens exist, which is a clear nod to Zayto and Ion being aliens from RAFCON. She runs into her boss, Jane Fairview. She's played by actress Kira Josephson. Although a resident of New Zealand, she is actually from America and is a great tap dancer. She has a lot of great videos on her Instagram of her tap dancing and also doing ADR for Power Rangers. Also a great singer and plays ukulele. Although relatively new to the screen, she is an experienced theater actress who played major diva roles in her day. Characters like Sharpay Evans from High School Musical, Betty from White Christmas, Elle in Legally Blonde, just to name a few. Kira is represented by Catherine Rawlings and Associates, who also represents actress Sia Trockenheim, who played reporter Muriel Reeves, Zoe's mom on Beast Morphers. After getting the green light from Jane, Amelia sets off to find a ghost at Dinohenge. Dinohenge is an obvious reference to Stonehenge, which we see in Operation Overdrive's anniversary episodes Once a Ranger, which featured Lord Zedd's son, Thrax. This foreshadows Lord Zedd's appearance later in the series. For some reason, that family really hates henges. She fires her spook snare, which captures Ollie Akana. This character is played by Kai Moya. The Hawaiian native hasn't had a lot of major roles on TV, but has a career as a model. But Power Rangers has hired models before, and some have turned out not so great, but others have done an amazing job. I think Kai does really well at his role. I just wish the writing would lighten up a little and let him have more moments to be encouraging. He seems to discourage Amelia constantly, which isn't a great characteristic in a teammate. Ollie is wearing a white poncho in the middle of the summer where there is no rain. There is never an explanation for him wearing the poncho, so I guess it was just to make him look like a ghost. Ollie's main characteristic is his obsession with technology. It comes around to hurt him several times in the series, and his first appearance on screen, being zapped by the spook snare, is a foreshadowing of this. He is a bit rude in this scene while telling Amelia that he and his mom just moved to Pine Ridge. Dr. Ollie Akana is played by Siobhan Rakiri. Although a new name to most people around the world, Siobhan was a regular on the New Zealand soap opera Shortland Street, totaling in 250 episodes for the long-running series. That popularity made her a contestant on New Zealand's 7th season of Dancing with the Stars. She is a member of the Global Association of Archaeology. Now, this series has a lot of plot points that are open-ended, and I'm excited to see if they will reveal the answers in the second half. For example, Ollie and his mother have not stated where they are from, but they are involved in a major archaeology organization. This would be a perfect tie-in with Anton Mercer, since we are dealing with dinosaurs. I would love it if they mentioned an exploration of theirs was funded by Anton Mercer Industries, or that Ollie transferred from Reefside High School. I honestly think there's potential for this to come up because of the way they tied in RPM to Beast Morphers. I'm hoping that we get a nod to Dino Thunder at some point in this series. The Doctor scans Dinohenge with the drone. This activates the statues, but it only shows the T-Rex, Triceratops, and the saber-toothed tiger eyes glowing, which is odd they didn't show Amelia's dinosaur considering we don't even meet the Green Ranger for a few episodes, which leads me to believe this was intentional since they are repeats of the original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Zords of Jason, Billy, and Trini. The other three are the Ankylosaurus, Stegosaurus, and Mosasaurus, which were not in the original series. This is another nod to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the coming of Lord Zedd. Then we see Warden Garcia, played by Blair Strange, who returns to Power Rangers since he voiced Monster Bork on Power Rangers SPD back in 2005. But his ties to Power Rangers are probably stronger from his ex-wife Katrina Devine, best known for playing Moira in Power Rangers Ninja Storm. She also played Cassidy Cornell in Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Warden Garcia asks Dr. Akana to come with him, saying they don't have authorization to be there. Amelia reveals she's been caught 17 times by the Warden when ghost hunting. Ollie shows her very quickly that he doesn't believe in ghosts, which is really trying to show the drastic difference in these two characters. Amelia is all about the abstract and believing, and Ollie is much more of a literal type of person, or as he puts it, rational. We now see Void Knight teleport in. Void Knight is played by Jared Turner, another returning cast member of Power Rangers. His history with the show started as a voice actor in Jungle Fury, where he voiced the Phantom Beast Weiger. That villain, of course, had the same spirit animal as the Jungle Fury's Red Ranger Casey, which might have some resemblance to Void Knight's story in Dino Fury. His appearance has the same chest symbol as the Dino Fury Rangers. Maybe a hint at him being someone who might work with the Rangers later on. Jared had his on-screen performance with Power Rangers during Ninja Steel, where he played Joe, the owner of Joe's Towing, where he mentored Yellow Ranger Calvin Maxwell. Void Knight teleporting in is the first time we have seen teleporting since the Zordon era, and it's really cool to see the Rangers returning to the original power of teleportation. Once again, a nod to the original series, potentially showing a connection to Lord Zedd. After scanning the T-Rex rock formation, he quickly discovers a base underneath the ground and breaks through the ground to get in. This marks the first villain to ever infiltrate the Ranger base on the first episode. He also is motivated by saving his love, not taking over the world, which is something we will discover later on. And when he does find the energy source, he is surprised that they are Sporix, showing that he wasn't looking for monsters or an army. Amelia instantly jumps up to go after him, showing her character's fearlessness, as Ollie hesitates for a second and hides behind the Triceratops formation. When Amelia says, "You aren't afraid, are you?" Ollie reveals he has been in lots of tombs and interesting places. This would make a great reason for him to have crossed paths with Mac and Dr. Hartford from Operation Overdrive. As Amelia and Ollie go down into the base, they hide behind a holder of Dino booster keys when Void Knight comes around. The door opens and we see the half-dinosaur, half-cyborg Solon. Solon is voiced by Josephine Davison, who formerly played Morgana in Power Rangers SPD and voiced Itasis from Power Rangers Mystic Force back in 2006. Void Knight asks Solon for the energy source, which is a pretty clear sign that Void Knight doesn't know they're Sporix. He simply wants the energy. Ollie comes to Solon's rescue, grabbing one of the Chroma Fury sabers off the wall. Now, it's stated that Ollie did take fencing lessons for 6 years, so he does know how to use a sword, which is nice because a lot of times the Rangers can fight and there is no real explanation for it. Solon throws the Hengemen key to Ollie, but it is caught by Void Knight, and he turns the Stone Warriors into his evil henchmen. Now, there is a major plot hole in this because these are said to be made to protect the power chamber, but there are flashbacks of the henchmen fighting Zayto and his former team. So at some point this was kind of forgotten in the mix. But the checkerboard pattern on the back of them represents the fact that they are simply pawns in the game. The Chroma Fury sabers connect to Amelia and Ollie. Solon throws them their Dino keys. This in itself is kind of interesting because the sabers, for what I know, are interchangeable and the keys choose their Ranger color. So these sabers on their own have a connection to the morphing grid as they give them their morphers. Now this is different for how the next two Rangers connect to the morphing grid, but we'll get to that later. Ollie refers to them as Power Rangers, even mentions if you watch the news we get Zords, which furthers my belief that this is the same dimension as the Beast Morpher Rangers. I'm not sure where they connect with the rest of the Ranger series, but this is definitely setting up a crossover with the previous season. Zayto finally comes to life. Russell Curry plays the Alien Ranger. Russell is from Minneapolis, Minnesota in the United States. He has done some small acting roles since 2013, but he has also been a producer for a movie called Boiling Point, and done some writing and directing for two shorts, The Trend Friend and 23 and Who. Zayto attacks Void Knight. Void Knight drops his scanner and it shows it falling in a corner, showing that it is important and will most likely be an important plot point later. During the fight, the Sporix gets loose and Void Knight yells, "No!" really solidifying that he doesn't want monsters but the energy. Zayto unmorphs and does some mind reading, saying he is checking if it still works. Solon said he has been asleep for 65 million years. It's stated in Dino Charge that Keeper bonded the Energems to the dinosaurs over 65 million years ago, which means these are two different dimensions, because by the time Zayto came to Earth, the dinosaurs would have been dead already. The other theory is that if this is the same universe, these are the only 6 remaining dinosaurs in existence, which would make sense because they said the dinosaurs fought with them, but why aren't there hundreds or thousands of them fighting? It's only the 6. So Sledge's meteorite killed all the dinosaurs but these 6. Or more likely, this is a timeline that Sledge's meteorite did kill the dinosaurs. It isn't addressed, but the decision to go into this stasis pod might be because he lost his team and he felt like living was pointless. So he put himself in a position to be used if it was ever needed. I believe the season will end with Zayto and Ion going back to Rafcon, but if the writers wanted to give a more heart-wrenching story, it would be that Zayto goes back into the stasis pod with Solon monitoring him. Even though he has grown close with his friends, he would be dedicated to this life of serving only when needed, showing that he doesn't live for his own enjoyment anymore, which would be truly sad because his character seems to love life so much when he is learning about the world. Solon reveals she was badly damaged after an ancient battle with the Sporix. So maybe Solon was a warrior at one point. It would be interesting to know what her full potential was in battle, but it is obvious she has stamina. Void Knight hit her in the face with the same blast that took away the ground to reveal the base door. but that blast only winded her. She has a pretty fierce growl and claws on her fingertips as well. As Zayto tells the story of what happened on his planet, Rafcon, the audience is led to believe that the Sporix beast escaped something, and 3 Sporix come to life on screen. The last monster on the right has not been seen since the flashback. The name of the Sentai monster is Phantom Minosaur, but we have yet to see their return. Tombtress, the monster on the left, is voiced by Kira Josephson, who plays Jane. In the middle, we have Doomsnake, which is played by Stephen Lyons. This is Stephen's first time working on Power Rangers, but they brought him back to voice another Sporix monster, Fogshell. Stephen was born in America, raised in New Zealand. He spent some time doing comedy on cruises. He worked with the well-known comedy group Second City in Chicago. Stephen doesn't have much online, but there are a couple videos of an improv stand-up and one of him from Cleveland, Ohio in 2013. I'll put a link in the description below. He co-hosts the I'll Be Back catalog podcast, which is the #1 New Zealand podcast dedicated to Arnold Schwarzenegger. He also has been a writer for 88 episodes of the show 7 Days. The premise of the show is 2 teams of comedians or celebrities coming up with jokes about headlines in the news. So he has been pretty experienced with joke writing. Personally, with the amount of improv background Stephen has, I wouldn't be surprised if he picked up a role down the road for a season's comic relief character. Tawila Bakley voiced Spyclops in Ninja Steel, and then became a main supporting part in Beast Morphers. And there are lots of other actors and actresses who have done the same. Whether or not he is looking for more acting gigs is unknown to me, but I think we might see more of him. Zayto's story continues with how they came to Earth. The Morphin Masters grant them their powers by turning the dinosaurs into statues. Kind of dark that they are turned into stone monuments, but they are connected to the morphing grid. When morphed, we see Zayto turn to the Red Ranger, a shot of the Gold and Green Ranger, but the Green Ranger is the center of the shot, and it quickly moves to the Blue Ranger, once again showing the original Mighty Morphin Zords first, and finally ends with pink and black. The original Dino Fury Green Ranger does have a skirt on. The Morphin Masters make them Zords. In this shot, you can see all 6 Rangers with their respected Zords, as well as Dimitro Blazin Zord, Terra Freeze Zord, Cosmic Raptor Zord, and a Zord we have yet to see. Looks like a bat to me, but the Sentai counterpart says it's a cross between a kangaroo and a Stygimaloch, I don't know how to say this, which is a dinosaur that on average is a little bigger than a human. Research online says it's between 6 to 10 feet tall, around 170 pounds. It says it's a herbivore, but its name means demon from the river Styx. This picture shows the chamber in its chest without its little version sitting inside. It's brown in color. Maybe it's the Zord from the Sentai counterpart of Void Knight that is a brown knight. It sounds like we won't see him show up in Power Rangers, but maybe the Zord will. But this shot also shows us a potential power-up mode for the Red Ranger. The rest of them are in their typical power-up modes with booster keys, but his outfit looks a lot different with gold accents on the helmet and black base suit with the red armor around him. It ends with Zayto telling them they need to train, which hasn't happened in a pilot episode of Power Rangers. Training in general isn't widely talked about in most seasons, even in Dino Thunder. Dr. Oliver doesn't push them or train them, which is kind of odd for someone so devoted to martial arts, but maybe he was Tom Oliver after all. Dan from the fan club did an interview with me, and I had such a blast. It's so much fun. I've done actually a couple interviews about music with my band, but nothing has been as fun as talking to Dan about Power Rangers. So I'm going to leave a link for you there, and please check it out. We had a great time. So that's my breakdown of the first episode of Dino Fury. I am really pumped about this season. They have put so much effort into it, and there's so many unanswered questions that are even going to come up later that I'm really excited to discuss and look into. If you enjoyed this type of episode, it's a little different than the fan theories, but I thought it might be something that would be fun to discuss as well. So let me know what you think. Thank you. Have a wonderful 2022, and I hope you guys have a great year. Bye.